everyone listen carefully, because with the help of all of you clever detectives out there, I believe we have solved the mystery. I have Wadsworth here, and I'm ready to announce the solution to the mystery of what you saw that night that gave you such concern.
Very good. Please do go on.
Yes, as you know, I am a master detective myself, and not only have I solved all your riddles, but I have interrogated all of your suspects and have pieced together every last clue and detail to come to this conclusion. On the night in question, Colonel Mustard arrived at the school intent to help with an unknown type of project. Upon finding no one here and becoming quite hungry, Colonel Mustard decided to have a snack of sausages and other cured meats he had brought with him. Colonel Mustard set the meat down on a plate, then left to retrieve a small pot, or some might call it teapot, of French mustard stored within his room. At that very instant, Yvette, the Minute Maid, saw the assorted meats left within the lobby and cleared and cleaned the room without ever being seen, since she is a very fast maid. Mrs. Peacock then entered, smelling the sweet smoke of the cured meats still lingering in the air. Colonel Mustard was returning, but soon realized that the teapot was empty, having forgotten he had finished the mustard earlier that week, and let out a scream of both hunger and disappointment. Mrs. Peacock fled, and Colonel Mustard threw the teapot in frustration, ran down the hall, and left the parking lot looking quite annoyed. A most concerning scene if ever there has been one. No wonder you wanted to report it, Wadsworth.
Wow. I mean, just wow. I must say that is an incredible job.
Thank you.
I mean incredible. As in unbelievable how you could get it so wrong. That is not even close to the correct solution. What detective training do you have again?
It's not correct? I thought I had it all down. Where could I have gone wrong? If that's not solution, then I'm afraid I must insist you tell us right now. No more of these puzzles or clues.
All right, fine. This has all become exhausting, and I suppose the butler's code is more of a guideline anyway. I will tell you.
Yes, please. Go ahead then.
Well, here is the real solution. On the night in question, I began to buttle a bit earlier than normal. I do this sometimes, and I call it a bitty buttle.
A bitty buttle?
Yes, a bitty buttle. Anyway, as I looked into the office, I noticed Professor Plum standing over a cauldron laughing and muttering. Oh, what a surprise I have for the school. Yes, they're all going to get it now. All of them. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Well, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. After all, Professor Plum is normally plum delightful. But I wasn't the only witness. At that very moment, I saw Miss White enter, take one look at the scene, and let out an ear-piercing scream, and she took off at a run down the hallway. Well, I had seen enough, and ended my evening's bitty buttle right then. I decided to return the next day and alert you, fulfilling my duty as the butler to protect and serve this school.
Unbelievable. Wadsworth, Professor Plum standing over a cauldron and saying the whole school is in for it. That story is amazing and unnerving. I must thank you for your service to the school. Let's get Professor Plum in here and get to the bottom of this.
Yes, you called?
Yes, Professor Plum. Have you heard what Wadsworth has just reported to me about you standing over a cauldron in the office cackling? What do you have to say for yourself?
Well, Wadsworth essentially has everything correct.
Aha! So you admit it.
Yes, though I wouldn't say it was a cauldron I was using so much as a big pot. You see, I've been planning a special project for all the students and staff. I was using the big pot to hide and randomize stickers for everyone.
Wait, what? You were standing over a big pot mixing treats that you want to hand out to everyone? That sounds plumb delightful. But what was it Wadsworth told us you were muttering? Oh, what a surprise I have in store for the school. Yes, they're all going to get it. All of them. Oh, I suppose that does make sense. And check out if you were making a surprise for everyone. But what about Ms. White? What did she see that caused such a fright, sending her screaming and running?
Oh, that? I had just spilled a little from the pot out onto the ground by stirring too hard. Miss White saw the mess, and you know how serious she is about cleanliness. Well, she screamed and ran down the hall back to her room to find a broom to sweep them up. Mrs. Peacock must have heard the scream and left before seeing anything else.
What about Colonel Mustard looking annoyed?
Oh, I believe that was from me setting donut stickers on his desk. I didn't know he was cutting back on sugar, and I believe the gesture caused him to leave right away, looking quite annoyed.
Well, that does wrap the solution up into a nice little bow. This whole thing was just about you trying to make some treats for the school. I want to thank everyone who helped out this week. I hope you had fun and enjoyed our little shows. I know I had a lot of fun. It's great to be able to share our school with all of you. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for listening. The end.
A huge thank you to our wonderful cast, Mr. Gertzen as Wadsworth the butler, Mrs. Neufeld as Yvette the maid, Mrs. Laniga as Miss Peacock, Mr. Giesbricht as Colonel Mustard, Mrs. Burkowski as Miss White, Mr. Hutch as Professor Plum, and playing herself as the principal is Mrs. Rebizant. Directed by Mrs. Zilke.